I keep hearing all this talk about modern women this, modern women that. Now, frankly, I've used the term modern women for the majority of the last 5 years since putting out my book Hard on Break because, there's this idea that somehow, some way, women are still ancient or in touch with their, feminine side and various other shit. And calling them modern women just shows that, that's really not the case, none whatsoever. However, modern women are a direct result of modern men. Like straight up. Like we have no modern women if we didn't have modern men. What men gotta understand is that within the last 150 years, what has happened to us is that we've been conned, essentially conned, into becoming puppets and pawns of the corporate systems. That's exactly what's happened ever since the late 1800s, right? And your labor, you have become valued by the worth of your labor, so to speak. And your labor, of course, would apply for the most part to steel companies, coal mining, oil mining, all the various different industries that have arisen over the last 130, 140 years that were primarily fueled by the labor of men. And we allowed ourselves to be classified by our labor. We allowed our worth to be classified by our labor. And our labor was essentially organized by a few at the so-called top because we were stupid. And this is essentially where we went modern. And now, but the truth is, what did we expect women to do after we went modern? See, what we don't understand about modern woman is that she's a carbon copy of modern man. And women, for the most part, I don't care what you say, in this day and age, especially over the last 50 years, all they've done is emulated the role men play in the labor field. And since these companies have been more inclined to hire them over men over the last 50 years, as skilled labor jobs, masculine jobs have slowly been shipped overseas, they have now identified themselves with perhaps the same exact position that you, a man, has been playing in the work field for the last 100 years. But now for the last 50 years, they've been able to get these jobs and they've been able to remain, for the most part, independent of men because men themselves depend on the same source to take care of themselves. While before that now, they had to go get us out the woods. That ain't modern man. You understand what I'm saying? When they had to come and get you out the woods and risk getting shot, risk getting, snake bites, risk getting yellow fever, you weren't modern men not too long ago. Now, of course, 100, 130 years ago seems like a long time ago, but compared to, if you compare 130 years ago to what we were a few hundred years ago, it compares none whatsoever. And the truth is, man was once self-sustainable. Man was once self-reliant. Man was once very dependent on the family that he was building with, the woman that he was building with, the ability to bring forth children to cushion the survival ratio within a tribal aspect. This was what man was. When man decided to exchange his labor for coins, worthless coins, we became modern. And then slowly as time went by, the same people who convinced us to turn in our freedoms for money convinced our women that they should do the same. And they became modern. You understand what I'm saying? So like when we look at what women are doing these days, it's in direct response to our modernization as men. For the last 150 years, we're money puppets. We're valued for our labor, and many of us enjoy being valued for our labor because we've been socially conditioned to feel as if this is our role. And when our women come along and do it, there are going to be consequences. And now for the last 50 years, marriage as we know it has been upset. Gender roles as we know it has been changed. And subsequently, the relationships don't work anymore. They're not functional anymore. These are the byproducts of modern men. It's not just modern women. So now you're thinking to yourself, well, what's the fucking solution, Nakata? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to stay modern. Okay, well, if you stay modern, you're going to have to look at the socioeconomic and political effects of doing so, because your freedoms aren't there anymore. Being dependent on a system or money or a job and various other things that are being defined for you takes away your masculinity and makes you essentially this modern man who has no power in society but to sit around and look and post on social media about the things that he doesn't like. He's not going to take up arms. He's not going to go off on his own. He's not going to go find his own water. He's not going to grow his own food. He's not going to hurt his own animals. He's not going to do all of these different things. And of course, you might say, well, look what happened to the indigenous people. They killed off their animals and poisoned their waters, and they're going to do that to us. You got to try. You got to try. Like, you can't be afraid of what somebody's going to do to you if you want to be free. You get what I'm saying? But freedom in the form of self-reliance is what takes you out of being this modern man. And it's not like you can't be that again. Nature didn't go anywhere, bro. You get what I'm saying? Learning how to hunt, learning how to fish, learning how to get it on your own. That, no one's stopping you from doing that. You're just so modernized that you know no other way but to be this subservient labor fuel individual that calls himself a man by his ability to get money from somebody to pay for things that he doesn't need, while his rights are being infringed and taken away from him every single day. And then he's concerned about why his woman doesn't respond, why his woman doesn't respect him. Woman don't respect you because she knows that you're modern. You're as dependent on the same job sources as she is, which is why she feels as if she doesn't need you. When you become free, when you become self-reliant again, that would take you out of the category of being a modern man, and it would by default force these women out of this modern position back into a position where we got to work together to make it. Now, these days, while we don't have to work together to make it, the results of it is what you're getting. They're going in a whole different direction. And as long as they're influenced by the people at the top to stay alleged to them, to their jobs, to their businesses, and these other things, then your woman will never be with you. Modern woman is doing exactly what she's supposed to do, looking out for her damn self. Because modern man, he forsook his freedom for paper, and now she's forsaking her femininity to go after the paper too. This is no surprise, guys. We can't keep blaming women for shit. It's all on us. We can change it if we want to. It's Nakata as usual. Be sure to get a copy of Heart on Break on Amazon. Leave a review. You can always support me that way as well. Donations, Cash App, PayPal.